Good evening, Rando fans. How are you guys doing tonight? I am Relkin, and I'm joined by Arusta, is that right?
Yes, that is. I'm Arusta. And shout outs to Amerith, who is on the restream, and then Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna, who is doing our tracking tonight.
Yes, indeed. We got ourselves P-Train versus He's Just a Boy, Team Sphere Affinity versus Guardians of the Galaxy Brain. This is a interesting one. P-Train is a well-known hoverer of the Rando community, and He's Just a Boy, their team is new to the league itself. So we got some newcomers and we got some old timers. Should be a good one. This is Open Defeat Ganon.
And we should be getting started in just a minute here.
There we go. We're off. P-Train starting in Sanctuary. Actually, they're both starting in Sanctuary, getting a big 20 out of the first chest. And with the one of the standard openings, both are going to check out the bush crab and a tree pull up here, as well as check the lumberjack, see if it has anything important. P-Train's going to go ahead and check the bush crab immediately. Very useful today. Bombs are one of the most important things to have early on in the game. And He's Just a Boy going to be the first of our two runners to check and see what is here on Lumberjack Ledge. It is just a heart container. That's not going to be required. Check 1 for Aghanim, maybe not being required this seed.
So as they're about to do the Lost Woods check, ooh, there's a glove there. That's a big, nice start.
Yeah, for sure. That glove by itself opens up the back of the escape area, and it opens up King Zora himself. We also got a bottle here to check Sick Kid and Kakariko. It's pretty convenient.
Yeah, that's definitely something you always like to see, so you can route it in and you don't have to worry about having to ever go back, leaving bottle or Sick Kid for later.
Yeah, the dream in Kakariko is to have both the flute and a bottle, so you can both activate the flute and check Sick Kid while you're there. Starting off here in Blind's Hut, we have ourselves some money, a Bombos medallion, some bombs, and a big 20. And more bombs.
Yep, more bombs, and both runners are going to be close enough that once they do the well checks, they will be able to just route in. They'll have the 100 rupees to route in the bottle vendor, or excuse me, the merchant, right at the same time. We also just got a map check. Looked like a red crystal on Hera, and then other crystals in Desert and Eastern.
Looks like the well didn't have much for us today. You talk about crystals in the light world. That means that all 3 pendants in a dark world. That tends to point to a faster seed, but I mean, it's not always the case. We'll see how it goes. Nice free heart container. No, I mean, it's not free. It costs 100 rupees. It's by no means free. I don't know what I was thinking there. Free does not equal cost 100 rupees. Although I guess it could balance itself out and then end up being free or negative cost, if that makes.
Yeah, and they got 50 rupees back from the hut, so, or from Chicken Hut, so at least they got some of their money back. Ooh, and Shovel on the Sick Kid. That's also kind of nice to get here, because you have to assume they'll probably maybe route it in, depending on what they do with the race game.
No, it's pretty much likely that they're gonna finish off with the Shovel, even if race game has something important. You gotta. It's faster to go ahead. But yeah, another fetch quest to check off the list since it's so.
And library has nothing, just a big 20. So thus far, the two checks that you can visually see the item, Lumberjack and Race Game, the two boots checks, both have been nothing. So thus far, we are not necessarily required to have boots to beat the seed. P-Train getting trolled by that guard a little bit.
Was that Shovel worth? I'd say it was.
Oh yeah, hammer and glove this early. That's good, because that means all they need is Pearl, and they'll be able to get to the Dark World without needing to do Aga.
Precisely. He's just a boy gonna go ahead and get our first divergence underway. He's checking back of escape before doing much else. I agree with this just because I think putting off back of escape is probably not the best idea when there's a chance of having 3 items in a very quick succession. P-Train, however, going to continue his route to.
Oh, and there we go.
Dark World access. He could just stop what he's doing right now and just go straight to Hype Cave after this. In fact, what he might do is do Mini Moldorm Cave and then go to Dark World and then do Hype Cave immediately afterwards. Who knows?
Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy finding nothing in back of escape. Actually, He's Just a Boy did find the map there, which does mean that's one of the 2 non-items in escape, so that's one to check off. The other is the small key, wherever that's at.
Precisely, the small key can only be in either Dark Cross or the first chest of escape at this point, since it cannot be behind those locked doors in the front of escape. So really, it's a 50-50 shot of whether you can skip Dark Cross today.
P-Train going with a bit of an interesting move here, doing the early Agina check here.
Gets a free green potion. It's not a bad thing, but it's no progression.
Okay, yeah, well, it looks like grabbing that hammer looks like P-Train might be about to do just what you expected there, going straight to Hype Cave.
The only difference is that P-Train isn't checking Mini Moldorm Cave, which I'm a little confused about, but I mean, it's his decision to make, not mine. So the small key was in the first chest there, which indicates that there will be an item in Dark Cross today, which isn't logic thanks to the lamp, but it's another thing that could be on He's Just a Boy's mind.
Meanwhile, Hype Cave has a big 20, hook shot, bombs, and 100 rupees. So basically hook shot and a bunch of garbage items. Maybe a 4 out of 10, would you say? 5 out of 10?
That hook shot to me is at least 6 out of 10. That hook shot to me just closes a lot of loops in terms of being having to deal with hovering. Of course, we haven't seen a map check to see what Dark World layout we have. P-Train, if you'd be so kind. Anytime, buddy. Well, P-Train is not listening to us, so he can't really hear our crying and plea to do a Dark World map check.
Meanwhile, he's just a boy. Looks like they're setting up for a death warp here after finding just bombs in the cell.
On a bit of a note here, Hookshot will open up East Death Mountain and Hera, since we have the hammer and we also have Glove and a lamp.
Yeah, right now P-Train's got a lot of things he can check, so it'll be interesting to see sort of how he routes this in a way that sort of minimizes backtracking, hopefully.
So, unless something is here in Dark Cross, this whole castle play was pretty much empty, and indeed it was. Wow. All right, so we got Green Pendant Pod, Pendant Thieves Town and Swamp, and Red Crystal at Ice. P-Train just reconfirming what I just said.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing with that layout is that means we still have a lot of items to get. We need both rods, we need Samaria, potentially some more medallions, bow for Eastern, and then of course flute, and then the 2 swords for Ganon. So P-Train still has a lot of items. He's just a boy is now doing some of these South Dam checks, and we'll see if they do the same thing that P-Train did, just go quick Dark World, or if he's just a boy shows his mini Moldorm here. Also, to answer the question, chat, I believe the pendants were Pod, Swamp, and then Thieves Town.
Yes,
Pod being the green crystal, or green pendant.
Yep, and then the other red crystal was Ice. So like you were talking about what we need the mitts, we need the flute, we need both rods, we need a bow, we might need more medallions, we need the cane, we may not need the mirror this seed. We logically need flippers, we may need boots, and we're gonna need 2 more swords. We got a bow already, so that's one thing off the list we can check off.
Yeah, and the runners are going to do a nice little handshake high five as they pass each other here.
Man, Green Pendant Pod is looking kind of juicy right now. I don't know. At this point, I might do something like this where I head to Pod, and after that, I would save and quit and then do Eastern and to turn the Green Pendant in. But we'll see how each of these runners feels after getting that bow.
Looks like he's just a boy is going to head to Dark World, seems like. While P-Train's going to show us nice ice cave here. Just a big 20 on ice cave, which is good for he's just a boy because makes up at least a bit of the time they lost doing that empty castle play, escape play. So as the runners are both going to show us checks we're already doing here, just to update everybody, so this is the Link to the Past Randomizer League. This is still week 1, which is 7-7, open, defeat Ganon, basically the typical vanilla settings you'd often see. This is the second game of this week between Spherefinity, P-Train's team, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Brain. He's just a boys team. There are 7 weeks in the league, so this is week 1 of 7. The remaining weeks all have very different modes. You can check the Link to the Past Randomizer League website to get all the information on the future weeks. Also, shout outs to Dante, raiding with a party of 3. Welcome, Dante. Hope you're doing well.
Yo, Dante, how's it going? Thanks for the raid. He's just a boy making his way to Stumpy. Stumpy only given a heart piece. Gonna make his way all the way to Dig Game here in just a second. P-Train gonna head up the mountain, save the old man, and do pretty much all of Light World Death Mountain he can.
Yeah, and I like this play by P-Train because, especially with both Hookshot and Hammer, you can go the long way of circling around through East Death Mountain and even get to Hera and clear a crystal if you want while you're up there. So nothing on top of Spectacle Rock, and in Spectacle Rock Cave, also nothing, just bombs.
Seems like he's just the boys doing the exact same thing P-Train is, which I'm not surprised at all, with the ability to do all of Light World Death Mountain in one go here, most likely. You may as well do it now. I mean, it just
at this point,
so much you can do.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was done with what I was saying.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, I mean, at this point, you can basically clear all of East Death Mountain. The only thing you're going to end up missing and sort of isolating is that tablet up there, because we don't have book or the swords necessary. But I mean, it's just one check, so.
And of course, right now there's no real feasible way to do Spike Cave as it stands. And also we don't have mitts. Those are the only things you might be concerned about going up here early. But I have faith in East Death Mountain to give us some good stuff. Come on, East Death. Come on, Paradox. Give us something good. There we go. We got a mirror.
Yeah, and that mirror does open up a couple extra locations, which most notably some of the ones, the Circle of Bushes just south of Stumpy, which He's Just a Boy has checked, but I don't believe P-Train has been that way at all. So that will be, if there's something there, that'll allow P-Train to route that in much more easily than He's Just a Boy, who's kind of isolated it a little bit.
Yeah, like you're saying, that mirror does not open much. However, it will make routing pod and Eastern in, if you option to do pod, a lot easier. And a lot faster, of course. Faster being the main driver of why the mirror's good here. P-Train gonna go ahead and do Hera here. With the hook shot, we can do Hera pot, the glitch where you clip into the pot up here in the top left and basically skip 4 floors of this dungeon. Granted, if we don't get the big key here, this could be an interesting decision point. Okay, so P-Train didn't get the big key here, which means that the big key's vanilla. Okay, I figured P-Train might do this. This is a lot scarier to skip the big chest in non-key sanity modes because you are more than likely going to skip an item if you skip the big chest in Hera by doing this glitch. Especially since he got the compass in the first floor, there's a higher chance that there's an item in the big chest. So I totally get what P-Train is doing here, going to get the big key so it doesn't skip the big chest in case it has an important item.
Yeah, though you see P-Train dodging back and forth, unfortunately with no real way to hit that switch, except maybe bombs. No coffee break for P-Train today.
Yeah, in fact, that pot strat is kind of an NMG alternative if you don't have enough. If you do not have the boomerang, or if you just don't feel like trying to do a boomerang dash. So I get why P-Train is doing that strategy there. P-Train taking a death warp. Probably he did have mirror, yes, but he had such low health that he could not do a hair pot if he tried to do so.
Yeah,
Granted,
and even though Tower of Hera is usually not considered that dangerous of dungeon, with only one hit or only one heart to start with, it makes sense why you'd maybe want to get a couple extra hearts there as well.
Also, I suppose P-Train feels it's not worth his time to hair pot considering he does not have boots to make it faster, so he's just going to do the dungeon the normal way. I know from experience and just from people telling me about things, but P-Train does not like being swordless. So I see why he's walking up the stairs here to hit the switch. It's a lot safer to do this bomb jump or than doing the bomb jump without a sword. So I totally get it. And P-Train's play to get the big key worked out. However, it was to no avail. No key item in that chest.
Yeah, though, at least on our side, being able to see both runners, He's Just a Boy is doing the same thing, so P-Train didn't really lose any time relative to his opponent in this case.
Exactly. And now we get to see a swordless Moldorm. And P-Train making sure he's holding away from the edge so that way he doesn't fall down there from being hit. If you take damage from Moldorm, then you can't control yourself when you're being thrown around. But it doesn't matter. He's got him down. That's Crystal 1, the Red Crystal effect for P-Train.
So it looks like P-Train's going east to finish off the Spiral Cave, which makes a lot of sense the way he's routing this, because that means you only have to fall down the mountain once. Once he picks up that item in Spiral Cave, he can just straight up save and quit and decide where he's going from there. Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy pulls off a very nice bomb jump there.
Moldorm did not like him doing that bomb jump there. He had some choice words to.
And there is Samaria. That's a very nice find there, especially since we know we're going to need it for go mode.
Yeah, that cane is actually in kind of a dumb spot. People tend not to like Spiral Cave just because of how slow it is without boots. And I see people skip Spiral Cave every now and then. And if this was a bigger race, you might see some people end up skipping that just because of how long it takes. In this case, though, since you have one more thing left to do on the mountain, you may as well do Spiral Cave since you can fully do it in logic.
Yeah, and looks like P-Train is going to do Uncle, and I'd assume he's gonna follow up with Front of Escape, which will basically tie up that race. Because the big difference, if you've been watching for only a couple minutes and missed the early part, the fact that He's Just a Boy has been a couple minutes behind through the East Death Mountain and Hera checks is just that He's Just a Boy went through all of Front of Escape for basically nothing, which now looks like P-Train's going to do himself. So if you were running this, where do you think you'd go now if He's Just a Boy? It's got a lot of options open.
If I'm He's Just a Boy, I go straight to Pod and Eastern with that mirror. And I think I was right. I mean, I see the general walking in the direction of Pod and Eastern. I think we're going to be seeing Pod first and then maybe Eastern afterwards. Considering Green Pendant turning is right here. Although it looks like He's Just a Boy is going straight for Sahashala first. Maybe He's Just a Boy is not planning on doing Pod. We'll see.
Yeah, because with that mirror, you can actually go to Dark World first and actually mirror just near Sarasala's house. So if he wanted those 3 chests, he could very easily have routed that in if he was planning on going to Pod.
P-Train actually almost died to this ball and chain guard. That's a bit of a risky situation. Decided to play it safe there, pull out a bow.
Yeah, the ball and the chain guard being a little mean there with constantly blocking the hammer.
I mean, have I mentioned that P-Train doesn't like swordless? So.
Yeah, looks like you're right. Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy finding a compass in the first chest. That is 1 Eastern item, and it's just a big 20. There are 3 items here. With the bow, everything is full clearable, and since it's a crystal, I think we can assume He's Just a Boy is going to go ahead and full clear everything.
Looks like P-Train might be heading towards K45 here in a second. I'm not sure, though. Nope, he's heading towards Pod and Eastern. In fact, he's going to be doing Pod today, by the way he started out his route.
Which is definitely, with 5 items in Pod, definitely, actually 6 items if you count Green Pendant, makes a lot of sense to go ahead and get that if you're planning on coming to this area. And on P-Train's screen, you'll see what I was mentioning a couple minutes ago, where you can use the mirror to save yourself some time if you're comboing Pod and Eastern and haven't yet been to Sahasrala's hut.
So the big key in Eastern was vanilla today. So that means, since we saw both map and compass already, the last 2 items are in the big chest and on Almost Nights. Nothing but a big 300 in the big chest, so the value of Eastern is left in the hands of Almost Nights. Let's see. P-Train is most likely going to head into Pod first to save a mirror transition, but I could be wrong because since he values Eastern higher because it's a crystal. So he's going to do Eastern first and then do Pod afterwards if he doesn't find anything major in Eastern.
Yeah, which we know looks like thus far there isn't. We'll see what the item ends up being. Oh, He's Just a Boy. Misses the switch there.
Yeah, that's a 3 hearts of damage right there from those Igors. Those Igors do 1 hard damage no matter what mail you're wearing. All right, he's just a boy going to start from the bottom right for this fight. It's kind of almost like the Ice Armos fight in NMG where you start in the bottom right. Takes him down. We got nothing in Eastern. I think we might see a pod play from He's Just a Boy. He may be thinking, oh man, I should have started from the Dark World instead of going straight for Eastern.
Yeah, at this point, having already cleared out the South Dark World loop, except for that mirror circle of bushes, it seems like pod is definitely the play here, because the only other spot where he's got a lot of checks is the village. And from here, that's kind of a hike.
All right, He's Just a Boy being our first runner to make our way into Green Pennant Pod. So far, we're not bow locked in here with that small key in the first chest.
So there's a mushroom. Nice, interesting start there. Nice fetch quest. And with Samaria, they will also be able to do a fake powder to get Magic Bat, should He's Just a Boy choose to do that.
Correct. Seeing we got the 2 non-small key items in the front there, that means the rest of the keys in the front 6 chests of pod are small keys, including these 2 ones over here that He's Just a Boy will be collecting in just a second.
Meanwhile, P-Train is making his own play into
He's Just a Boy taking a lot of damage there. Oh, and that Samari block did not hit the switch. They're going to have to do this again.
Yeah, if you fall off like that, you can actually be far enough away from the screen that the crystal switch is slightly off screen. And
Yeah, if it can be barely off screen and still hit, but if it's too far off screen, it will not hit, like you're saying. You know, I want to say that bomb misthrow was, unintentional, but it actually killed that. It killed the mini Helma, so it was kind of a nice trade-off there.
Yeah, it almost looked intentional the way he.
We're gonna give He's Just a Boy the benefit of the doubt. What do you say?
I think that's fair. Interesting thing about the key logic here in Pod, with three keys coming out of the basement with this routing, that means he will have to do the Harmless Hellway here, because that means it is not a key. But it's just fine.
This room here, Dark Maze and Pod, can be terrible without a sword. You see an Ice Rod up there. That is required. So, Pendant Pod having something important. Who knew? Oh my goodness.
And Myth. Whew.
Okay. Pendant Pod wins.
Very important, Dark. There is an item on Helmasaur in addition to the green pendant, so there's actually 2 items available if you choose to complete the dungeon.
Yeah, and with that Death Warp, He's Just a Boy did intend. I could tell that they intended on.
Yeah, and given that He's Just a Boy was at 1.5 hearts, I think that's a very defensible play there to take the Death Warp rather than mirroring, even though it's, a couple.
I almost venture to say that if the Mitts and or Ice Rod didn't show up in here, I'd say that it'd be a lot harder to skip out on Helmasaur, considering you didn't get anything else besides those things. But I don't know, I feel like I would probably be making this safe bet since you're not going to want to come back here later. But P-Train thinks otherwise, so this is interesting. He's Just a Boy could be making some more unnecessary checks, or P-Train could have just skipped out on.
He's Just a Boy using Ice Rod on that switch. Very nice. You don't get to see Ice Rod nearly as much as...
Yeah, no, Ice Rod is the fastest for that room if you don't have a sword, Master Sword for sword beams. So yeah, Ice Rod is the 100% right thing to do to use. Swordless Helmasaur coming up here for He's Just a Boy. This fight can get scary real fast if you are not very familiar with the fastest way to kill him, which is without a sword anyway. So I expect He's Just a Boy to maybe play it a little bit safer.
Yeah, and as Penguin Tamer noted in chat, without a sword, you actually don't get that nice little hold your sword out and get slight range advantage that you often. But He's Just a Boy making short work of Helmasaur, no issues there. Very nice.
All right, moment of truth number 1 here. Helmasaur didn't have anything. Will this green pendant have anything, though? Let's find out in just a second.
Oh, interesting there by P-Train. I think that was probably just a misstep there. Could have opened Pod while he was up there. Oh, never mind. Forgot he doesn't have a sword. Makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, no sword means you can't do anything about that. Just a red boomerang, which is nice for menuing. That's the only thing in Super Bunny Cave, though. All right, big moment of truth here as well. Nothing. Wow. So far, that Helmasaur play is a bust. So P-Train could be safe here, assuming nothing. Although I guess it's worth going over what could be on pedestal. But whoa.
Ooh,
Oh man, P-Train.
That's huge for P-Train. Fortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, fortunately, it looks like He's Just a Boy is also himself going over there. So P-Train will get a bit of benefit from the boots faster than He's Just a Boy, but won't end up with like a huge.
Yeah, He's Just a Boy making their way also directly towards those boots.
Yeah, because that's one of those subtle things you don't necessarily think about, but every minute your opponent has boots that you don't. That time adds up pretty quickly if it's.
Our tracker, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna, pointing out what could possibly be left on Ped, which is the Fire Rod, the Flute, or Ether. And P-Train likes his life a lot more now. He has his first sword in K.
And it's worth noting, for those of you who haven't seen it or who came in late, He's Just a Boy has already done the Stumpy check and the dig game. So with Mitts, maybe he'll route in this after picking up Jeremiah or after picking up Purple Chest, but it's very possible He's Just a Boy will put that location.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Smith chain could be the only thing really that pulls him towards those checks. That remains to be seen, obviously.
And He's Just a Boy just going to get the information on the Total Rock entry, which is Quake, which actually both of them already have. We have not seen the Meyer medallion, and that would be the only way it could be required.
P-Train finding a nice little mail upgrade there in Hammer Pegs. Nice to have when you don't have any mail upgrades and you have less than 10 hearts. If P-Train wants to, he could do fake powder here. Also, we got a Fire Rod, so that Smith chain is required today.
Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy is doing a couple isolated checks here, the King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks, both for pretty much nothing. Looks like He's Just a Boy is going to then take the northern entrance near Skull Woods into the Dark World. See if he goes into Skull first or goes straight to the Thieves Town village area.
Ooh, nice little half magic upgrade in chess game. That is very nice to have. Ooh, and He's Just a Boy going into Skull Woods won't have the sword or the Fire Rod going in, so that's going to be a time sink for them.
Yeah, especially since it's worth noting that Skull Woods is a crystal, so by coming here without Fire Rod, He's Just a Boy is basically committed to a double dip, whereas P-Train will be able to handle all of Skull Woods in one routing. To answer a question in chat, I don't think we got anything worthwhile in Thieves Town. P-Train only did the first half, though, the first floor. Meanwhile, P-Train is going to do the backside of the backside of Skull Woods, which makes a lot of sense here. That's in situations where you know you need to clear Moth. This can often be a smart play to start with the back, because if you find the two items here, you can completely skip the front.
I think maybe after this, P-Train might head up to Turtle Rock, considering he can full clear it now.
Yeah, at this point, P-Train is basically looking for Flute and then a second sword, which you sort of hope you find that second sword before you find the Flute, because if you don't, then you get into an interesting question of, do you risk doing Ganon's Tower without the sword and just hope you find it there?
P-Train needs to be a bit careful here. He can only take one hit. Oh, goodness. Wow, that was a close fight.
Yeah, P-Train living on the edge there. Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy is showing us the front of Thieves Town again. So for those of you who missed it the first time, you can get to see the first 4 checks, which is what P-Train did. P-Train bailed before getting the back half or blind.
He's just a boy doing the same thing P-Train did and noping out after the front of Thieves Town. So we won't see the back of Thieves Town, at least for a while. And we might not ever see it, depending on where the rest of our items are. In terms of what we still need for Go Mode, we still need that flute, and we still need another sword. We don't need flippers, but logically we do need them. But if they are our Go Mode item, we don't care.
He's Just a Boy choosing to do the hammer pegs the super slow way. Fortunately, there's Blue Meryl there, so he won't feel too bad about that.
I mean, he had no choice without a sword, so I don't, Oh, so I guess he's just a boy's not using vanilla link sprite, because that's not what you get when you get blue mail. I was under the impression that he was using the vanilla link sprite.
I thought he was as well.
Alright, but looks like he's just a boy will get to do the purple chest, considering he's right here, and his next option route here is to go south. He's going to be getting that sword out of K45, mark my words.
Yeah, which is really good for he's just a boy, because if he'd gone any other way and skipped that sword, who knows how much more he might have had to search to find the 2 swords for Ganon.
Yeah, at this point, we can't go into desert, we can't go into mire. Logically, we can't go into ice. I think the seed is actually wanting us to go to Turtle Rock now. We can't go into swamp either.
Picking Mountain Cave looks like P-Train might agree with you.
He's just a boy, lost the purple chest. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going through he's just a boy's mind there, but he completely blanked and left the purple chest there. So I think he's gonna go back and get it. Or he could be going to Skull Woods, who knows?
Say, you know what? Having lost the purple chest, whether it was intentional or not, forget it. Let's just go Skull Woods. Let's kill Moth. Meanwhile, P-Train, as you mentioned, is doing Turtle Rock. He'll be able to get basically full clear this, plus with Mirror, he'll be able to route in Mimic Cave as well. So this is 6 items all in one quick go here. He's just a boy using very nice Fire Rod strats there to take care of Moth, no problems whatsoever.
I think Chaz already mentioned this, but I do believe this is probably a bit of a routing mistake on He's Just a Boy side. If Chaz not mistaken, he already had both items, and this is just a regular crystal. So he didn't have to worry about it until he was in go mode. And so he probably could have done purple chests instead of this and been just fine. But it's, too late to speculate about that at this point. We're just going to hope that purple chest is anything useful, right?
Yeah, at this point, especially since it looks like He's Just a Boy is going straight to Turtle Rock and going to follow P-Train's footsteps. Time-wise, it looks like P-Train is maybe a minute and a half ahead in his Turtle Rock climb. Chat pointing out correctly that we have had mushroom for quite a while, but no one has checked it, so it could be an item there. Could be the flute we need, or one of the swords we need could be there.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that mushroom being, blocking something important, that would be 3 items in pod, green pendant pod, that were important. P-Train, with that mirror, is going to check Mimic Cave while he's here. No question about it. Let's see what's here. Oh, there's a flute. Okay, so we are just looking for a sword at this point. And if I'm P-Train, I skip most every chest along the way while you're in this go mode state. I basically hope that there is another sword in GT. And we better hope that Ether is not from... I mean, clearly you're here in Turtle Rock. You finish everything up here, right? You check Laser Bridge.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you check Laser Bridge while you're here, especially since it looks like P-Train might need a key from Laser Bridge anyways. So if you're already visiting there, you might as well check all 4. Then the first thing I'd do would be to immediately go to Meyer, so I know if I need another medallion. But then from there, I think you check chests which are in your way. Maybe something like Meyer Shed, where there's 2 chests in very short order, things like that. But I would not do like left side of Meyer if I don't have to. None of the slow stuff.
Yeah, I'd be go moding ice. I mean, you can maybe check the first chest and then the freeze ore chest. But other than that, P-Train have a little issue with that red beetle there. The knockback of using the sword pushed him into the pit, and he probably wasn't prepared for the push in the pit because he wasn't holding direction to stop himself. So what's on Laser Bridge? Let's see.
Yeah, and walking in with only 5 hearts there, I kind of like the idea of doing the safety door just because you really don't want to have to come back for here. Even if he's not really worried about Trinex, just having to do laser skip and all that, if anything goes wrong, you don't want to lose all that time.
All right, here comes the Hammer Trinex fight with half magic from P-Train's side. This fight is annoying to say the least because hammering up isn't fun. So you kind of have to be pretty on point with your hammer hits.
I actually like the idea here by P-Train to just spam Fire Rod and do as much damage with that as you can.
Yeah, P-Train, I think it's pretty smart of P-Train to take the safety door. He's already at 2 hearts, and basically one more hit from Trinex will kill him. He's playing it a little safe here, trying not to get nailed by Trinex. And down he goes. Nice fight.
Yeah, very nice Hammer Trinex fight. And for any of you keeping track at home, just to compare time-wise, Looks like P-Train is going to get his crystal at about 59 minutes and 20 seconds. So we can see just exactly how far behind He's Just a Boy is. Looks like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes if I had to guess.
All right, P-Train is heading straight to activate that flute. Going to be finishing up probably both Mire and Desert next. And he'll probably be using a bunch of arrows. We'll see if he wants to pick up some arrow upgrades after doing Mire and Desert.
Yeah, I think chat discussed this a couple minutes ago, but P-Train does have, I believe, a green and a red potion. So in terms of money, if he wants to buy bombs, buy arrows, he's got plenty of it when he goes to Ice Palace. No real need for money at this point. He's Just a Boy also taking the safety door, and again, that makes plenty of sense knowing you have to do Hammer Trinex, and you're coming in with few hearts.
He's Just a Boy could skip the rest of Laser Bridge if he wanted to, but he's going to choose to do the rest of it. Takes a death there. He might incentivize him to skip it. Who knows? All right, and that is officially go mode for P-Train at 101.12. Sword in Mire Shed pushes him to official go mode. Assuming that Mire was not Ether. I actually didn't see if Mire was.
I believe it was Bombos, so I think P-Train is good. He's Just a Boy taking another death on Laser Bridge, being kind of mean to him today.
Starting out in Desert here, go mode Desert usually involves checking Torch first, which it didn't have a key. He's Just a Boy coming up on their Hammertronics fight as well.
Oof, He's Just a Boy getting hit by that fire twice. That hurt.
Yeah, thank goodness they took the safety door, but that is a minute time loss. Doesn't feel good to die at Trinex.
He's Just a Boy doing the same thing with the Fire Rod spam. Makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, P-Train just completed land mows, so effectively at this point, P-Train is an entire desert ahead of He's Just a Boy.
And down goes Trinex for He's Just a Boy. Take two. So, seems like this will be P-Train's race to lose. Unless some GT big key shenanigans happen. But we'll see how that turns.
Yeah, so based on the time they grabbed the crystal, He's Just a Boy is 4 minutes and about 50 seconds behind.
I think P-Train is... well, imagine if they had checked that mushroom earlier.
Yeah, that very well might have driven them to ice rather than Turtle Rock, and that would have been quite a bad thing for both runners, so guess it's a good thing they had that and didn't use it.
He's Just a Boy activating their flute. P-Train opening up Meyer. Confirmed that it was Bombus, like you said. Back to what I was saying. P-Train, with the onset of potentially doing a Master Sword Silverless Ganon, he was preparing himself for that fight with some potion acquisition.
Yeah, because at this point, knowing, I mean, with Blue Mail, a decent amount of hearts and 2 swords already, you have to assume the only thing that maybe you check chests on the way, which are very close, but you're not going to go anywhere out of your way here. So you have to be mentally prepared to expect Master Sword Silverless at this point. GFE in chat also raising the good point that potion could be additionally safety for Vidi, since you have no cape, no Burna, and no silver, so you have to do Vidi the kind of slow way.
Coming up on the left side here, we got the big key, so that will prompt P-Train to skip the rest of the checks in here. No point in wasting your time. He's Just a Boy actually didn't check Meyer Shed before coming in here, so he'll be doing... He'll have to do some bomb strats most likely on Vidi. We'll probably also be seeing some arrows used, because arrows do a lot of damage as well. However, he probably wants to save a bunch of them for the final eyeball, or else that part just takes forever.
Yeah, and while I believe you can do damage to the final eyeball with hammer, every time I've tried it, it's not easy.
Yep, P-Train, as expected, using that potion almost immediately after doing a couple of basically free hits on the eyeballs. Probably going to see him pull out the bow in just a second to finish off some of these if he doesn't runs low on health. But he does just fine, so he's going to pull out the bow only for the big eyeball.
A very nice fight there by P-Train. He's Just a Boy is going through the basement now, so we'll get to see how He's Just a Boy shows us how it's done if you don't have the nice Master Sword strats there. He's Just a Boy also showing off the spooky glitch as part of this.
I see what He's Just a Boy's doing here. He's going to be fake powdering this anti-fairy coming up here. Or not. Oh, that's right. He turned the mushroom in. He forgot. So, yeah, that's a bit of an oversight. Probably a good idea to use that potion now. Yep, there it goes. Resolving to use fighter sword spins here. Maybe finish off the rest of these guys. Trying to save as many arrows as he can for the big eyeball. Which, with these many eyeballs left, I get it. See, they're going down fairly quickly, so this is all. Good patience by He's Just a Boy to make sure he does not screw up majorly on Viddy.
And to keep exactly the correct number of arrows after using them on the small eyeballs. Meanwhile, P-Train pulling off the Ice Palace bomb jump very nicely there.
Yeah, so if all else, He's Just a Boy is making it close rather than taking a very costly death.
Yeah, and it seems like this is the reason He's Just a Boy didn't do the Mire Shed, because if you noticed, he did do the spooky glitch there. And so I think if you go to Mire Shed first, it can sometimes mess that up. But he does now have He's Just a Boy is officially in go mode with that second sword.
Going into Mire Shed doesn't screw that up. It's whenever you beat Desert.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay, what He's Just a Boy needs to do here in Desert is pick some arrows up. He could just be holding out on the arrow upgrades in near Ice Palace, but picking up arrows along the way might be also nice.
Meanwhile, P-Train using up one of those green potions to fill up his magic again.
P-Train just wanted to go in and spend all his potions just to make this fight less annoying and a lot faster. Down goes Cold Stare.
And so that is P-Train's 7th crystal. So I don't know if the bot actually exists here, but there is the big Ganon's Tower big key guessing game. Enter a number from 1 to 22. I don't think the tracker is saying the bot doesn't exist, so we'll just give you the shout out if you get it correct. Do you have a number you like to always choose, or how do you like to play the game?
I used to always get 7, but now I just kind of go with whatever.
P-Train picking up a few blue potions, which, again, since he's might end up having to do silverless, Master Sword silverless makes a lot of sense. Just go ahead, refill those potions. You already have to flute over, so it doesn't cost you all that much time. And so it looks like He's Just a Boy is going to spend some money getting some extra bombs and some extra arrows, which makes a lot of sense after burning all of them on Vidi. This is probably the easiest way you can get to refill the arrows. Meanwhile, at about 1 hour and 16 minutes, P-Train is opening up Ganon's Tower. So at this point, he's basically a full Ice Palace, go mode, clear ahead of He's Just a Boy.
Getting a small key in the first couple chests here in GT, going right based on that. Going to come up on 3 through 6 here. Oh, nice silvers pickup. This Ganon fight will be so much nicer. But still no big key, so leftward we go. Hey, that's number 7. You know, I used to go with 7 a bunch. I went with it this time. Maybe I should just have faith in 7 more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to Relkin, of course, and then also Karnath, FD, both picked 7. Good work, guys. All right, he's just a boy coming up on their cold stare fight. They're gonna pull out bombos to make this first part of the fight easier and save a bit of magic. Need to be a little careful here. Any one hit will kill him.
Whew, that was very close. P-Train with a very quick one cycle on Lambo there.
Yeah, and just in general, P-Train's execution during this GT climb has been very solid.
Wow.
Ooh, and there, P-Train getting the tempered sword there. With that plus silvers, that means his Ganon fight will be a lot easier coming out of GT than he probably assumed it was going to be when he walked in.
Oh, going for the hover there takes a fall. It's not going to matter too much, though, since he is a full GT climb and big key search ahead of He's Just a Boy.
Yeah, just as a reminder, P-Train had opened GT right about 116, I believe. And so He's Just a Boy is 6.5-ish minutes behind before entering GT.
Here's the Agate 2 fight for P-Train. Looks like he got at least a double there. Oh, we got 2 triples. Wow, nice fight. That is the perfect way for that fight to go. No blue ball to ruin the triple. Yeah.
Meanwhile, He's Just a Boy started going full left, so did make up maybe 1.5, 2 minutes on P-Train there. Still basically the full climb behind, but that does catch him up a little bit if P-Train struggles on Ganon here.
He will be missing those silvers, though, notably. Those probably, they might actually make up the difference that, P-Train having silvers versus He's Just a Boy not.
Yeah, from what I've heard, typically you can assume if you're good at the Ganon fight, silvers are somewhere between 30 and 50 seconds, which, given that it probably took maybe 1.5 minutes to check right, that makes up most of the time right there.
Ganon teleporting quite a bit here. Okay, there we go. So P-Train on to phase 4 here. See if we can get a triple here coming up. He might be setting up for one right here. 1, 2. Okay, he didn't go for a triple there. But that will do it. Ganon is dead on P-Train's side. Get your GGs in chat.
And just to clarify, so since this is their second win of the week, Spherefinity will exit week 1 with the maximum number of points 6 points. So that is a very good start to this season for Sphere Affinity. Congratulations to P-Train and GFE, both of who won their matches this week.
Yep, and with an official SRL time of 1:24.20, P-Train has finished this race. And we are also joined by P-Train himself. GG's. How do you feel?
GG. That was a very, very interesting seed. I didn't feel good about it until I hit go mode. And even then, I was like, oh God, where are swords? Like, please don't. Not like this. Just not like this.
Oh, yeah. I know from other people that have been telling me that you hate not having swords. So I can imagine your frustration.
Yeah, anything that nerfs the boots.
Yeah, exactly. So the big difference here in this race is definitely, one, he's just a boy went and did Helmasaur, and two, he also chose to start from Sanctuary after getting the mitts and boots, and thereby skipping the sword on the way to Skull Woods, which you had before even going there. So his routing lacked a bit of the cohesiveness that yours had.
Gotcha.
Yeah, also, he did not have Fire Rod when he first went into Skull Woods, so he's just a boy actually ended up double dipping Skull Woods, whereas you were able to clear it in one shot.
Yeah, the seed was super weird. I mean, progression in both the mitts and the ice rod in Pendant Pod, then the sword being on Cave 45, then the fire rod being on the Smith chain. Just a lot of weird locations on this. At least from like a routing standpoint. Like I think I got really lucky with my route. The God route on this seed would have been really tough to hit.
Yeah, no, Pod was a very stacked dungeon today, having the mitts and the ice rod.
Yeah, that worked out for me. I held off on Eastern because we got a super early bow, but I had already dove into the Dark World. I realized that I could do the Crystal Dungeon. I was like, maybe I'll be able to combo Pod and Eastern with the Mirror later. Because otherwise, Pendant Pod is a really, really unattractive choice. So I did Hera, ended up with nothing but the Mirror and Canis Samaria, I think. So at that point, I did escape just because I tend not to gamble with Sphere 1. So I did escape just to make sure I wasn't leaving anything good in a Sphere 1 location. And then, which might have actually been a mistake with a Crystal Dungeon to clear, but whatever. I went ahead, did escape, then I went to Eastern and comboed it with Pod thanks to the Mirror, and then I found the Ice Rod and I was super happy. Then I found the mitts, and then I was less happy because I figured he's just a boy. Probably got bottlenecked into Pod pretty quickly.
Now, yeah, you both went into the Pod Eastern area around the same time. He's just a boy actually doing Eastern first, maybe in hopes of being able to skip out on Pod. That way they could, skip out on the Green Pendant dungeon. But they ended up going into Pod afterwards, finding nothing Eastern. So we're pretty much on pace with you.
Yeah, mitts just between the Smith chain and Dark Death Mountain, I felt like the mitts did enough to warrant leaving Pod. Granted, you're basically leaving two items, an item on Helmasaur and the Green Pendant. But just to me, the mitts opened up just enough to make leaving a better option. So I wanted to get the information from Turtle Rock, and I didn't have a sword, so why not? Let's just do Dark Death Mountain. Found the boots in Hookshot Cave, which was nice. And then at that point, because I had the Mirror, just clean. Because if you start at the Sanctuary after doing Dark Death Mountain, you kind of orphan Cave 45 and Dig Game and Stumpy. Like that's a terminal route. So I just thought the route was a little bit cleaner, starting at Cave 45, working your way up to a Skull Woods dive, because at the time I didn't have the Fire Rod, so a Skull Woods dive, and then you're going to the Bonk Rocks. So yeah, I just in my mind it just was a cleaner route that way.
All right, over on He's Just a Boy side, he will be doing Tempered Silverless Ganon. He's on to phase 4 now. Probably feeling a little silly knowing that the silvers were just sitting in GT. Gets a torch glitch using the lamp. Very simple.
Yeah, GT was kind of funny. I bought a abundance of potions because I didn't have a cape, and I wanted to be aggressive on the Ganon fight if it came down to it. I found silvers, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. And then I found tempered at the top. I was like, oh, well, good thing I wasted all this time buying potions.
Yeah, and so actually, since you mentioned buying potions, one thing that we both noted on the stream was when you turned in the mushroom. Both you and He's Just a Boy got the mushroom, fairly quickly, but neither of you had actually turned it in for a while. But it ended up being flippers. So I guess the question is, had you gone there, what would you have and gotten those flippers much earlier? Do you think you would have gone into Ice Palace early, or would you have stayed with about the same route you did?
I probably would have done ice earlier. I actually considered sequence breaking it, but I didn't want to do that. So yeah, I probably would have done ice first, but Turtle Rock, I just had access to it so quickly.
All right, over on He's Just a Boy side, he just completed Ganon fight. Walked over to the Triforce room with official SRL time of 1:30:59. Get your GGs in chat for him. We'll be pulling him into the interview booth as well. Here he is.
GG.
GG.
Good job, P-Train. Interesting seed. I was a little nervous about the swords there.
Me too.
I see you got the tempered sword as well. I'm assuming you must have picked up the same swords as I did.
Yes, K45, Meyer Shed, and top of GT.
Yeah. And silvers were in Ganon's tower?
Compass room.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a good chance I was going there, but that was a really nice big key.
Yeah, because P-Train started in the going right, found a key in that Hope room, and then if you go through Hope room to the 4 chests, silvers were in there.
Yeah, whatever. I was prepared for Master Sword Silverless.
Me too. I bought 3 blue potions before heading up to GT. Because I had Master Sword, I didn't have the cape, I didn't have anything.
I only had 1 bottle.
I got 1 bottle in Agina's, and then I got 1 bottle from Catfish.
That did do.
I skipped the one on Race Game. Shout outs to my people who had me on their fantasy team. Sorry, I picked up the one on Catfish, but I thought it was worth it without a sword.
Yeah, I probably would have picked that up too if I would have known. I was totally willing to leave the Race Game, but that was interesting. I was like, it felt like everything was just kind of falling into my lap there for a second. I felt decently good. The whole going into Eastern first and then being like, okay, I have to do pod, kind of sucked. And I was disappointed to find the Titans mitts. At first, with the Ice Rod, I was like, oh, babe, this is going to be good. And then Titans mitts, it's like, oh, crap, we're both coming here.
Yeah, when you watch it back, I said the exact same thing in my interview before you joined.
One of the big difference makers I was talking to P-Train about was that you had done Helmasaur. P-Train did not do Helmasaur.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that too. I knew he had an item and the green pendant, and I was just being extra safe. I was still missing so much stuff. Like, a sword would have been nice. I mean, I wanted a sword from turning in my powder, and then I was like, oh, well, I guess I got flippers, even though I didn't need these. But all in all, it was I felt like I played pretty well. I played pretty solid up until about Trinex. And I think nerves kind of started getting to me at that point, and then it was just felt like it kind of went slightly downhill. But other than that, I felt pretty good about it.
I gotta ask, you with the purple chest at K45, did you intend to leave it there?
Yes.
Okay. We were curious because you had gotten both items out of Skull Woods already, so we were a bit curious as to why you decided just to abandon purple chest and head straight to Skull Woods when you could have just gone back.
I was thinking, like, I was like, I could save and quit and just go to Sanctuary and do the run from Sanctuary there. And I just felt like where I was still maybe slightly faster than doing the save and quit there. I just felt like I was ready. I was ready to start. Like I wanted to go to TR. Once I found that sword, I was like, I'm going to Turtle Rock. And I just decided to take Skullwoods out on the way.
Yeah, that felt weird that was the barrier to entry. It's like I didn't have Fire Rod, I guess, but just the thought of, man, I could go in here if I had a sword. Like, usually it's a medallion or Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, when I went up Dark Death Mountain, I was actually going up to prepare to open it, and then I was like, wait, I can't even open Turtle Rock. Guess I'll just take the Dark World portal. And yeah, it was a fun season. P-Train gets his win over me in the tournament now. We're tied, so next time I'm coming for you.
Yeah, my first ever race ever was in the giant 512 Swiss tournament, and He's Just a Boy was my first opponent, and he stomped me. Like, absolutely stomped me.
What was that, like 2 years ago? And now you're freaking killing it. Top 8 in the main tournament. You're on one of the leaders on the council. Like, that's I'm very proud to have the first race against you.
I appreciate it. Well, it was a very nostalgic feeling.
All right, I think that will mainly do it for your interviews. You got any other final thoughts about the Steed or the week or the rest of the league coming up here? Like who your next opponent?
I don't know who I'm facing yet, as far as my next opponent goes. But I'm so happy I got into the league with the expansion of all the teams. So thanks to all the staff that got that going, so we could get up to 64 teams. I'm just looking to have some fun. I quite enjoy my teammates, so I think the co-op is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know I'm racing there. I know that our team has Moogle Charm and Swagalicious. Those are our opponents. I don't know off the top of my head what team they're in. I think it's the Double Dippers. But so yeah, I will be racing. Yeah. I think next week is what, Ambrosia?
Yes.
So I will be racing that week. But then I'm letting my opponents have all the fun with Enemizer because I cannot stand that mode.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially since there's a chance you could be running around without a.
Well, that and just all of my NMG practice. Like, I mean, really, even this seed, like, I felt like I was really off my game on the boss fights in the seed, just because Biddy, I was able to get the Master Sword, but we didn't have either the cane or the cape. I didn't have silvers, so my arrow count was a little low. I didn't get the upgrade beforehand, so just a lot of the boss battles just felt weird. But yeah, Enemizer is particularly nasty if you have NMG muscle memory. To me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm not a huge fan of Enemizer myself, which is why I'm not racing.
But yeah, my teammates are more than capable, so I'm happy to depend on them that week.
I'm a huge fan of Enemizer. It's one of my favorite modes. I love how it makes you have to think so much on the fly, because any type of muscle memory you build, it challenges it.
Well, you and I don't agree on that one, but that's okay.
But yeah, I will have to step away. GG, he's just a boy. Thanks for commentating, Relkin and Arusta, and I appreciate the restream. Good luck in the rest of the league. He's just a boy, and looking forward to facing you again at some point.
You too.
Later,
Yep,
guys.
thank you too. Go ahead.
I was just saying later. I appreciate it.
All right. I believe that will do it for us. We are wrapping up here. Thank you to my co-com Arusta. If you have any final words you'd like to say as well, I'll be feel free to do so after I finish thanking the rest of our crew here. Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna, our tracker, and Amaranth, our restreamer. Thank you so much for streaming here on our league Twitch channel here. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to Relkin, my co-commentator as well, and P-Train and He's Just a Boy for a very interesting race. For those of you who are looking for some more league action, there are, I believe, a couple more races tonight, and then there are a bunch which still have this first week, which will be either tomorrow during the day. There are several tomorrow evening, Eastern Time, and then I believe there are a couple more finishing up on Saturday and then on Sunday. And then next week, if you're looking forward, the Spherefinity will be facing the Double Dippers, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Brain will be facing CLW. Next week, week 2, is the Ambrosia mode, which is standard, defeat Ganon, and then the uncle gives you a hint about boots. And then also every boss has an item. May not be a useful item, but it's not a mirror, or excuse me, it's not a map or a compass or anything like that. It's an actual item. So produces some really interesting seeds. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all around.
Yep. And real quick, we got over on another league channel, we've got Lumega versus Varanth going on right now. That's the only other match going on tonight. But yeah, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching, and